Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I recently sat down and talked about comedy and various other things with comedian Daniel Butler. I just ask of you to like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm right now sitting down with comedian Danny Butler. How are you doing, Danny?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Good, you?
I'm doing okay. I can't complain. Sitting here relaxing. I spent a few hours at the pool.
So let's start out with a nice, simple question. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in a little town called Roanoke Rapids in North Carolina. It's a small town, paper mill kind of town, blue collar, but great family, great friends, great schoolmates. So I had a good time. Moved out when I was 18 and never really went back. But nice little hometown.
So we're right now, of course, in South Carolina. And so you're not that far from home, are you?
No, it's probably. Well, I relocated, so I lived in Wilmington for many years. Recently, me and my wife just purchased a farm outside of Jacksonville. So we kept a home in Wilmington and Jacksonville for a long time, but recently we just unloaded our house in Wilmington. So, yeah. So I'm not far. It's probably a couple hours drive, taking the bypass.
Yeah. So you commonly work with the comedian known as Basil, which
Yes.
I'll be having on later this evening.
Yes.
How's that?
It's good. It's good for I think both of us. For me, it's really good because I've been working with him for a really long time. So it was nice to have a mentor, someone that had been in the business for a long time, someone that's already established. He does tours and shows internationally. So it was really nice to learn from him. I got a lot of advice as far as professionally on stage and off stage, as far as business, as far as just probably the best way to carry yourself or promote yourself or how to be thick-skinned. You kind of have to have a tough skin to be in the entertainment business, unfortunately. But there is a lot of really good people. So, I mean, I have no complaints. But it worked out good. I also, I think, motivate him in a way. We do a lot of writing together. So I think that's beneficial. It's good for him to have someone to bounce ideas off of. It's the same as for me.
Yeah.
So it works out good. Yeah. Sometimes I travel with him as I'm just an assistant. So I don't really do any stage time. I just do, handle his merchandise, scheduling, all that kind of stuff. So it works out good. Yeah. So I get to see all of the business. So I don't have any complaints.
And speaking of business, comedy isn't the only thing you do, correct?
No. I've always worked for myself. I maintain another business, a woodworking business. We also have a rental business. We also have a farm. So I don't actually grow the crops, but I lease, the farm out to a farmer, which is nice. I've always done other jobs. So comedy is not my only source of income. So that's kind of a blessing. So I can kind of pick and choose what gigs I want to do, where I want to travel. So it's very beneficial in that aspect.
So, comedy isn't the only thing I like to talk about
Sure.
on this show. We were talking earlier, and you said that you'd just seen Infinity War, correct?
Yes, the adventure. I enjoy I'm not really in depth in the the superhero movies. I don't know what the genre is, specifically, but I do enjoy them. I mean, I watched cartoons, of course, growing up. The Spider-Man and X-Men, those type of cartoons, and I really enjoyed them. So I love the movies. I love the fact that the technology now is at a point to where they're enjoyable with the effects. They make the characters more realistic. So they're not. I would imagine before, early on, they were limited as kind of what they could do, which characters they can bring on. But no, I enjoyed the movie, and I didn't really know. And I saw all the other movies. I guess you're supposed to look at them as a collective.
Yeah.
And I really didn't know that. I think till I talked to you, I paid no attention. I did watch them. But it all kind of makes sense if you look back. But I think you can see them, you can enjoy them on their own as they are. But I enjoyed it. I really liked it. I'm always a fan of a movie that has a good villain So
Yeah,
I thought
and-
Thanos was a great villain.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I like it when they're single driven, a single purpose. Which, if you look at it, I guess from his eyes, he was doing the world or the universe a justice.
Favor.
Absolutely, yeah. He, in his mind, he was thinking he was going to save people from suffering.
In
So he
his
felt
mind-
very righteous in what he was doing. You
Yeah,
know?
in his mind, he was the hero.
Exactly. So that part I enjoyed. I like a good, strong villain. I really do, and I like it. That it was kind of wide open from the beginning. I like the fact that they mixed all the characters in. And I was probably disappointed with maybe the Hulk's character. I was a little bit disappointed that, but I'm sure he's never been, treated that way as he
Yeah.
was in the beginning. So
He was destroyed.
right. So that makes sense. I mean, I can see him being a little childish, but I did enjoy it. I think I like those movies for entertainment value. I enjoy going to the cinema. I love them because they're action packed. Some of them have great stories. Some of them not so much. I think the ones I don't like are the ones where they have superheroes, and for whatever reason they either lose their powers or they can't use their powers.
Yeah,
And, I'm like, I just want to see a superhero use his. I mean, that's the reason I'm there, to see him. So I like two people that have their powers just go at it.
Yeah.
And let the chips fall where they may. I just hate it when, it seems like so many of them, like they lose their powers or they don't have their powers and I'm
Yeah,
like,
one of the
somehow they're
reasons
limited.
Yeah, one of the reasons they take away the powers is because they have to have a villain.
Yeah.
And they have to increase tension.
Yeah.
So they take the powers away, and like before, that villain would be fine being taken care of. But now the powers are away. Oh no!
Yeah.
Or-
And I get that. I mean, I understand that, but I mean, and like I said, it's just a personal thing for me. I don't
Yeah.
think if you have a story where, because in this the one you mentioned, the Infinity War, they all had their powers. I don't think any of them were limited as far as what and they just had. I've always believed you just have to bring in a stronger villain.
Yeah.
And I understand that sometimes, like if you look at X-Men, like my biggest problem is like Charles Xavier seems to be the weakest X-Men in history.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he does not, like he has his mental abilities, but if you put on that helmet, he can't even. It's like he is just the weakest one. I mean, so I would think he'd be a lot stronger. I think in the comic books and different versions, he is much stronger.
Yeah.
But I get it. I guess you have to manipulate the characters for the benefit of the script or for dramatic tension. I mean, I get all that. I always believed you can have a strong enough villain, and then the characters can be wide open. Because I mean, Thanos and his underlings were so strong that
the characters have to get stronger
Exactly.
in order to defeat him.
Exactly. So I really enjoyed it. I really did. I thought it was very entertaining, and like I said, I loved a good villain. I did not mind the ending at all. I mean, I know a lot of people were probably bummed about that. I can't wait to see the next one. I'm assuming there's a next one coming out. I don't know.
It's actually supposed to be like a part 2.
Right. So I don't know with Robert Downey. I know his contract is coming up, so I don't know. Some people were saying that he may not be in part 2, or I mean, I don't understand. But
he's from what I understand, he's 100% in part 2.
Okay, good.
From what I understand, a lot of people are thinking maybe he's not going to be after.
Right, because I think they had planned 4, maybe 3 or 4 of these. I don't know about the Infinity War series, but the Avengers.
The next one is supposed to be part 2.
Okay.
Pretty much everything after that is blank.
Yes.
Basically, they're waiting for Avengers Infinity War Part 2. I'm not sure if they released the name yet, but we'll just call it Part 2.
Could call that's what I'm sure most people will.
Yeah, and Part 2, they release like barely anything after that, because if you release things after that,
sure,
people can bring back and figure out what's going to be in the second movie.
I agree. Yeah, and I'm sure that there are going to be all kinds of ways that they can bring any characters that were destroyed. Yeah, and you know what I mean. I'm sure that's gonna. I would imagine it would probably have to. If I were to guess, I would imagine it would probably have to do something with the stones. Yeah. There was the one where he had to sacrifice Gamora.
Yeah.
So maybe the people that were sacrificed are part of that stone or in that stone. So maybe there's a way they could be released. I don't know. Yeah. I'm sure.
Personally, I believe that. I'm not sure about the contracts because I haven't looked.
Yeah.
That might show, but I personally believe that Gamora, Loki, and I think there was maybe one more that died, but I haven't watched in like a month or two. But basically the ones that didn't die by turning to ash are dead.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense. And the ones that did turn... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you hear a lot of theories. Exactly. I would imagine they're not going to kill off, Black Panther.
Yeah.
And certain characters, the Spider-Man,
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that they will find a way to bring them back.
Yeah.
So.
And of course, another great thing with Thanos is, while they made him more powerful, made him more powerful than every single one of them. They also made it almost like a moral idea,
Sure.
a moral thought.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
That's one thing that's maybe, what people do, not a whole bunch, but some of them is make a weaker character, but make his give him a moral righteousness. The character can't just go and punch him in the face.
Sure.
And he wins.
I agree. And I think that's what makes them a better villain. Because it's difficult to make a villain just to be villainous or evil for evil's sake. I mean, they really need something to drive them or motivate them. It's obvious what motivates the hero.
Yeah.
He's trying to save or protect the planet or protect his girl or just do the right thing. So that makes it very easy. But it's difficult when you have a villain, because a villain will come across very shallow.
Yeah.
If he is just being evil for evil's sake.
Yeah.
So, and then I think that's what made Thanos so good, is because he believed he was on a righteous path. And he said after his mission, or he had fulfilled his purpose, he would just like to sit and relax and enjoy a sunrise or sunset. I can't remember which one. But so, I mean, I think he felt that he was doing the world or the universe a justice, a great justice, because he was going to save a lot of suffering for people.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to do horrible things for the greater good.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's what made him, a good villain. And he had good underlings with him. I thought they were pretty good characters.
And some of them were just evil for evil's sake.
Right, yeah, and those are easy to make them that way,
underlings, they can be evil for
Absolutely.
evil's sake. But the main villain...
Yeah, I think you have to have a little purpose or a little bit... They have to go a little deeper than just to be bad.
Yeah. And I remember every single underling, but the one I loved the most was the blue guy. The one Tony Stark called Squidward.
Right.
I think his name is Ebony Maw. We'll just call him Squidward for the sake.
Yeah, I cannot keep track of the names, and like I said, I don't really go in depth with the characters, and I'm sure there are people who absolutely know everything about them. But I never read really the comic books. I never got into. I have a lot of friends who love the comic books and who read them, and they never did anything for me.
And one thing that these movies did was maybe a lot of people never got into comic books.
Yeah.
These movies come out, boom, people are buying comic books.
Sure, I would imagine. Center. Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah, and then I have a lot of friends who were, they may be upset because, I can't believe they made so and so, or if you knew Groot's backstory, and I'm like, I don't. I only know what I see, and what you hear. But sometimes I'm fine taking them for face value for whatever I see on the screen. I'm okay with that. But I can understand if they're upset because they're not being treated true to the character. But in my understanding, comic books have a lot of either different illustrators or writers, and they change frequently, so they have several different versions, I guess. I mean, that I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty much
that's kind of what I hear, you know what I mean? And some people have a favorite artist or a favorite writer, or I don't know. I'm assuming that's what they're called.
Yeah.
Illustrators or writers. I don't know, but...
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah. But so I can understand people getting upset, but no, I absolutely enjoyed it. I thought it was very entertaining. It seemed like it was a long movie, but it wasn't drawn out, if that makes any sense. Like, I wasn't sitting there going, oh my God, this movie's taking forever. But afterwards, I thought, wow, that was like a long...
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like a long movie, but in a good way.
Yeah. Personally, I felt like it was, like, time flew.
Yeah,
it
did.
Time just went so fast, so by that whenever it ended, I'm like, wait a minute, how long have we been here?
Yeah, because...
It's only like 1 hour.
Yeah, I mean, no, I know what you're saying. I felt like it was a long movie. There was a lot in it.
Oh, yeah.
But not, like I said, not in a bad way. It was very enjoyable. Absolutely.
Yeah. And speaking of, like, entertainment, whenever you travel far, I'm sure you travel a lot, what's something what's, like, your favorite thing to do on the road? Like, listen to, like, do you listen to podcasts? Do you just listen to music?
I do. It depends if I'm driving. I hate to fly, so I'm terrified, when I fly. So I'm never really relaxed in a plane or in an airport. I'm okay when the plane lands and I'm done with flying. Then I'm okay. I can handle airports. Like, I don't mind airports at all. But when I'm going to fly somewhere, I'm nervous, and I'm really, really antsy. So there's really nothing I can do on a plane to relax other than take some kind of medication that will knock me out for the flight, honestly. But when I travel as far as car, I think a lot of comics probably do a lot of writing in the vehicle. But I like listening to music, I would think. That helps as far as the drive. You mean like getting to a gig, or are you talking about once you're there, or in general?
On the road.
On the road, yeah. I mean, I like music. I do. I really enjoy music. All different kinds of music. So my iPod is a crazy mix of all different kinds of genres, and also soundtracks that would work good in movies or for certain scripts or for writing purposes. So they're kind of mixed in there, and it really depends on what I'm working on. Kind of is what I would listen to. But yeah, music is a big part as far as relaxing or kind of I don't listen to it to like get pumped up before I go perform.
Yeah.
To me, it's more of a relaxing, or it helps me work, which is why I have soundtracks or music from different composers that would be specifically to motivate me for, like when I write screenplays, I name them the name of a song that is pertinent to the story.
Yeah.
So that name of the song, because when you sell a script, they're going to change the name. They're going to make it whatever they want to make it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just a little thing that I do. There'll always be a name of a song, and that will be the song that will motivate the theme of the script. So I'll play that, and my wife hates it. She's like the same song over or if I'm editing a video and there's a song that I want, and I just play it over and over and over, when I edit. So she absolutely hates it. She can tell when I'm really working on something, and it drives her nuts because I'm not a big fan of listening to the headphones. So when I'm writing, I don't want headphones. It's weird.
Yeah.
I want the music to be playing. I'm fine with that. But so yeah, I think music is a big part when it comes to traveling. But I mean, it depends on where I'm traveling to, and sometimes I'll put it on, satellite radio for either like a talk show. Sometimes I'll listen to different comics. Most of the time, I don't really listen to other comedians when I'm traveling or on the road as far as XM. But I just listen to weird stuff like NPR. And it may be C-SPAN. I mean, I just really jump around, so it just depends. And I think it has a lot to do on the trip, like how far I'm driving, that kind of stuff. But yeah, and sometimes I'll just roll the window down and just let the wind blow in there. It was just kind of weird, not have anything going. But and if I'm writing or working on a bit or something, a lot of times I won't have music going, and I'll just be rehearsing or practicing or something like that. But
yeah, whenever you are writing something, do you have like a theory for it, or do you just sit down one day and say, I have an idea?
No, as far as comedy or for screen?
Comedy.
Okay, so for comedy, sometimes it comes up for a lot of my most of my comedy is observational, almost all of it, and so it a lot of times comes up. It's either situational or it comes up in conversation. And so if we're talking or we're joking or we're making fun of something or someone or something that happened, it becomes, like we're laughing about it and it's funny, and I'm like, hey, that could be a bit, but it's very different. To be funny around people is completely different than to be a comedian on stage.
Yeah.
Because when you're on stage, it has to be, I don't want to say polished, but you're taking someone from point A to point B, and so it's somewhat scripted. I mean, it's almost always scripted. And a lot of times when you're just working with people or working the crowd or talking, things can pop up, and you have to kind of be quick on your feet. But for the most part, you have an idea of what you want to talk about. So for me, a lot of writing comes organically. If we're just kind of joking around and something comes up, then I'll try to remember, the premise. Sometimes it's purely observational. Let's say like when you're going to the bank and at the drive-through, they have the braille on the number pad. And I'm thinking, what blind person has driven to the bank, and needs the braille on the keypad? You know what I mean? But obviously they're there, I guess, if someone's driving them. But I'm thinking it's always on the driver's side, So that's kind of like a premise, and I guess you could work on it. So it's a funny thing that I bring up to you, but if to put that in stand-up or to make it an actual bit or a joke, I mean, you'd have to find a way to work it in there and to write it,
Yeah, and then match it with the other stuff.
Exactly. But, a lot of mine just comes organically. I think it's in conversations. And I do a lot of writing, which is really weird. But I do a lot of writing on stage while I'm performing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I may it'll just come to me, or I'll think about, and it's not that. So it may be a bit that has 3 or 4 parts, and then sometimes I may add one little thing to it on stage. It just kind of comes to me, or it may come to me after, and so I'll try it. So you're kind of always building and tweaking, always adding. To it, but sometimes I do. Now I write for with Basil with his production company. I have a good friend that has an animation company in Florida, that Funny Bone Animation. If I can plug his company, his business, and they do some amazing work, and it's nice. It's a nice little independent boutique. It's not. They've worked on some big features, and so it's nice to have sometimes. Hey, I need something funny about this, so I might get a topic. So then I have to sit down and literally write something funny or jokes or whatever. They may give me a character and make this character funny. What he needs a quirk, or he needs something, some kind of. Maybe a lisp, or he needs something to help develop this character.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff is nice, or writing or punching up work. And punch up work is material maybe presented to me like a script or a teleplay, and they just make it funnier or make this character funnier or change him. And so then I have a specific task, and sometimes that's good to have. I need to make this guy funny, or I need to make his lines funnier, and basically. You come up with 15 or 20 different ways to have the same laugh or the same joke or the same premise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You may just change what he says or how he says it. So they're all good exercises as far as writing. And I've probably done more, I would say, writing than actual travel and comedy. I would say more. It's probably more 60-40 at least, more comedy in the writing part than the stand-up and travel. So,
yeah.
Yeah, which I enjoy. It's nice. You can do it from home. You can do it in your in your underwear. So that's never a bad job when you can sit in your PJs and work.
Yeah.
Work from home and eat Oreos and be comfortable.
Yeah. So right now we're sitting in the condo that's the Comedy Cabana provides.
Yes, absolutely.
I always hear from many different comics about how the comedy how the Comedy Cabana is, how our comedy club here is.
Yes.
What makes it special?
Well, for me, it's because I think Jeff and Christine and the staff, I mean, they're almost like family. They treat you like family. There's a lot of comedy clubs that are they're corporate and they're obvious, even though they may be, someone owns them, but you could tell it's like it's a corporate kind of club. It's boom, boom, boom. This time, that time, you cut it, you do this, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
And you get them in, you get them out, you make the money, and you move on. And there's nothing wrong with that. It is a business after all. It's a strange business. The entertainment business is strange. But at the Cabana, I mean, you guys have been here 23 years in Myrtle Beach, and Myrtle Beach is not an easy town to open a business, and comedy clubs are not easy businesses to open and be successful. But I think it's because the Cabana is such a family. It's a family. Come on in. You want something to eat? Let me give you this, or let me take.
Yeah.
They treat you so well. It's a great place, and they're good people. I mean, the wait staff, the cooks. You know what I mean? The owners, everybody is just fantastic, man. And I look forward. I come down, I think 4 or 5 times a year, I want to say, and I look forward to it. I really do. I mean, it is enjoyable. It's probably one of my favorites. I mean, Myrtle Beach is not bad. I mean, I don't come down just for Myrtle Beach. I mean, it's okay. Pigeon Forge is the exact same way, or Gatlinburg.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing in the mountains, and I love the mountains. But up there, it's not a family kind of environment, and that's what I love about the Cabana, man. You feel like you're at home. Everybody's there. They're looking out for each other. You're there. You have fun. You want the club to succeed. You want it to do well. You want everybody to get good tips because they're good people. You know? You may not know them by name, but I mean you know them. You know what I mean? And you know them, and you joke and you play with them, and you have a great time. So I always have fun, and it's not just to come to Myrtle to golf or to do whatever. it's to come and hang out.
Yeah. Whenever you, how can I word this? What is your favorite kind of? You're a screenwriter, right?
Yes, not a successful one, but yeah. I write screenplays.
What's your favorite kind of screenplay?
It's probably sad. I try to have a lot of humor in it, but I guess my favorite genre, it's probably it's probably like a chick flick kind of thing. I feel bad saying it because that's a terrible way to say it. I've written a couple that are, I'm writing one now. I'm getting ready to start one now, and it's a man, woman. They meet early on in college or like design school, and then they kind of meet a couple times, and they kind of grow fond of each other, and then these tragedies happen, between them. So it's kind of like a love story. And the reason I like those, I think, it's because if you can make someone laugh and you can make someone cry in the same movie, then that's the whole range of emotions. You know what I mean? Anger is kind of easy to make someone villainous or to hate a villain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The sci-fi movies and action adventure movies are there for entertainment, and so you need the action. But as a screenwriter, like if you look at, remember the movie Highlander? The one where there can be only one. Remember, where there were the immortals and they had to fight each other with the had Sean Connery in it, and I can't remember the other. But anyway, there was and if you read the script, it's literally, so once they would kill each other, they would receive what was called the quickening, which was like they sort of would receive the other immortals' power, and they would become even more stronger. And that's what the whole movie or the premise was. They fought each other throughout time till they got down to the last two, which is why they had their saying, there can only be one.
Yeah.
And then they would receive the quickening once they kill and then all these lightning and all these other things. But if you read the script, it's like he receives the quickening. And so if you look at the movie, there's lightning, there's car alarms, things are blowing up, glass is all over the place. I mean, it's a huge thing. But in the script, it's like he received, So it's a little misleading, I guess, screenplays. But when it's about dialogue or when it's more of a not as much action or sci-fi, then it becomes more about the characters and more about the dialogue. So there's more to write. I am writing one I have a writing partner. We're doing kind of a sci-fi, which I enjoy. I love science fiction because I think it's
I
kind of
absolutely love science fiction.
I love it as a writer. It's so great because in my opinion, and it's a terrible opinion, but I believe if you put it far enough in the future, you can pretty much do anything.
Yeah.
I don't like the ones that are like, in 2035. I'm like, no, I want like 2335. I mean, let's throw 400 or 500 years. So whatever I want to happen, I can make happen. And it's believable because it's so far, into the future.
Yeah.
So, like with the new Blade Runner, the 2049 or whatever. And I'm like, that still seems kind of close.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To me, I would like it to be far in the future, but so I would think my favorite ones are kind of like what I would consider like a, like a chick flick kind of thing, more of an emotionally driven, But what I would really call them, chick flick is a horrible. Please forgive me for saying that. I mean, it's more of what I would consider a coming of age story. So there's some tragedy that happens, and you have to fight through that. Because to me, it seems a bit more realistic. Yeah. To have some kind of tragedy or heartbreak or something. Someone gets cancer, they're trying to struggle through the cancer, or they either live or they don't. That's everyday stories, so I like that. But they're different to write than obviously sci-fi or any other genre. But horror movies I think are pretty easy to write. Yeah. They seem fairly low budget, easy to produce, you know what I mean? But that's probably my favorite, the coming of age stories.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for your time, and I thank you for being here.
No, my pleasure, man. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.